What I was, I knew, but I couldn't really express it because where I'm from, the East Side, and you know, growing up in the hood, if you will, you don't do those sort of things, you know.
It's time to sit down with someone you know. Hear the stories that remind you of, well, just how great you really are. It's time for the Valley Gold Show with yours truly, Deborah Benton. So take off your hard hat, leave your steel toes at the door as we go for the gold with world-class performing artist, a New Yorker originally from Youngstown, Ohio, now starring on Broadway in The Color Purple under the executive producer, Oprah Winfrey. Welcome to the Valley Gold Show, Levensky Smith.
Thank you.
And welcome to the Valley Gold Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are originally from Youngstown, Ohio.
Yes.
Now traveling all over the world performing and landing that hot spot with Oprah Winfrey on The Color Purple. How did that happen?
Wow. The Color Purple, I'm coming into my year anniversary now. August 31st will be the day that I was hired last year.
Wow.
And it came at a wonderful time because previously I'd been going through some financial difficulties and just life situations. With this business, it's always up and down, like a roller coaster.
And the starving artist syndrome, is there any truth to that?
Absolutely, at times, but not completely. You're not meant to force that upon yourself. Okay. I mean, you have to know within yourself what you believe, and you know, if you have any sort of belief or drive for something, it definitely, it will make its way through.
So let's digress. You are just a very well-rounded performer. You sing. Yes. You dance.
Yes.
And I hear that you started dancing probably as early as you could walk.
Yeah, my sister, I think it was my sister, no, I don't think, I know it is my sister, who is unfortunately no longer here with us. But those were the beginnings. Those were the beginnings. She was a performer. She was dancing in school variety shows and just around the house. Okay. And things. My family is a very musical family. My mother sings. My dad always desired to sing and write music. And my sister obviously picked up from that, and I picked up from her, so it just passed down.
I understand she used to teach you how to stretch.
She used to make me stretch. She didn't teach me. She used to make me stretch.
And she was your inspiration?
Oh, absolutely. It was. I went to Harrison Elementary School on the east side. Okay. In Youngstown, we lived in the Kimmelbrooks. That's where.
And that's a housing project.
Yes, on the east side off of Victor, and then we moved when I was 7 years old to Republic Avenue, which is one street over.
So
from Victor. So we moved into a home, and just my mom wanted to just give us more of a privacy, you know, and a change, you know, a bit of a change. But my sister was performing, and before I even started school, I was I was a toddler maybe even. My mom and I went to a performance where my sister was dancing on stage, and I just remember being captivated, just like, what is going on? Sort of like the story from A Chorus Line. If you have ever heard of The Chorus Line, the Broadway musical, sure. I can't even remember the guy's name, I'm drawing a blank, but he's always like, I'm watching Cisco pitter-pat, I can do that, I can do that, you know. So that's what it feels like to me. It's like, man, I want to be able to do that, you know. And then I started, you know, just hanging around her. She kept me around her a lot. And a lot of the influences come from my sister and my mom, definitely.
Now, you did street dancing too.
That's where it began, the streets.
Okay. Yeah, so give us a setup of what street dancing is all about, because, you know, we see the end result, those of us who have never participated in. In other words, you see the end result, like you see the break dancers and you see them on the street doing their thing. But if you can give us some insight in terms of what it's like to actually orchestrate street dancing. Okay.
What one must know as a dancer is that if you have any sort of social or street dance ability, those are the true dancers. Those are the ones who are the true dancers, because it's innate. It's within them. Because your expression is whatever you feel. Okay. And to take it to the level where you would do things like The Color Purple on Broadway is to make a conscious choice and decision to, you know, to take classes.
Okay.
You take classes in ballet, modern, jazz, all of the techniques that are essential to becoming a well-rounded performer. And I made that decision, I believe, in well, before I started, I wanted to do music videos. I just wanted to dance behind Paula Abdul or Michael.
So you wanted
or
to
Janet.
do backup dancing?
I wanted to be in videos.
Okay.
I said, you know what? Let me do these music videos because, around town I developed somewhat of a reputation for partying and dancing. When I say partying, I mean party dancing.
Okay.
I had an old friend of mine who I haven't seen in years. Her name is T.M.I. Ward. And she and I were a little duo. So we made up these names. She was China T, because she's T-My, and I was Sir Jamalot, because I was just enthralled by Camelot and just like kings and all that sort of stuff. So we made up, you have to have a moniker.
Okay.
So I came up with Sir Jamalot, and there were so many more of us from the south side, from the north side, and from the east side. And we used to go to the Star Palace.
And all this was in Youngstown?
All right here at the Star Palace downtown. That was like our haven. That is where I used to go, and I would dance and I would dance to the point where I would go, when I get home, I'd be numb. I just go home and I'd sit in the living room, and everyone would be asleep because I'd be the one that's always out. And I'd just sit in a chair and I'd buzz. It just buzz. I'd be buzzing. And it was great.
And this was all very natural. There was no substance involved.
There was nothing involved. Nothing involved. It was a natural high.
Okay.
It was a natural high. I believe if you were to ask anyone here in Youngstown about me as a young guy, as a teenager, and as a adolescent, they will always give you he was eccentric, he was a little different, or I got weird a lot too, but that's not knowing how to place the word. It's just different from others, and I've always sort of felt that innately, that there was something burgeoning, there was something within that set me apart with this dance thing.
Okay.
With the dance.
And were you very competitive, or did you just love it?
No need to compete.
Okay.
No need to compete. It was what I felt, and it's what I would do, and it was the first time I felt like I belonged, like I was worth something, like I was able, because I couldn't play the sports. I was too small. I was a runt. I was real small. I weighed maybe like 69 pounds in 7th grade. So all of my peers, all the guys, they were much older than me. So I didn't play like the sports, and I really didn't have a desire to. I didn't, and I felt bad about that. That's why I was like, I'm different. I'm different. It's like, God, that's what we're taught to do as well. I'm finding that we're taught to do those things. That's just the man's way. That's what that's what we do in our community. This and if you don't play football, basketball, or sports, then you're in the streets.
But if you look back at African American history, and even back to African history, before we were inundated with media about sports, that's what our people did, was dance.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It's all. Sometimes I wonder, what are the truths to the passing down of generations of who are my people? Where did they come from? Because I don't understand why I moved the way I move. Like half of the time, like as a street dancer, I like to say street because that's what it was.
Okay.
We were from the streets. We had that. And I never break danced. I was a gymnast.
Okay.
But I never really got into the break dancing.
So what kind of dancing were you doing?
Just whatever came out, whatever the music. Whatever the hip hop, I would say hip hop, because hip hop was just starting back then.
Okay.
Well, it was going then. That was the beginnings of hip hop.
Popping, or
it was a combination of pop locking.
And for those who don't know what pop locking is,
they know what it is because it's in every commercial today.
See, a number of generations actually watch our show, so we don't want to take it for
that's
granted.
fair.
So break it down.
All right, pop locking is anything that when you're ticking your body, when you stop, if you're moving and your body stops like that, that's called pop locking.
Okay.
Sort of, and there were groups, man, back in the day in Youngstown. There was so much available for the children and for the young people